Hey everyone, this is your How To teacher, Sierra, and I am back with that part 2 of making interactive activities. So today we are going to make an activity where students can click and figure out if their answer is correct or incorrect, and it will show them, so self-correcting. And we'll make one where they can click something and it will move to a place that you want it to move when they click. Let's get started. So what I've done is I have already done, if you watched that last video about drag and drop, I talked about making my background templates. So I went ahead and made 2 background templates that I'm going to be using for this activity. So I'm going to go ahead and save these as a picture. I'm going to Control A to select all. And then I'm going to right click and save as a picture. So now that I have all of those, I'm going to go ahead and just make a new PowerPoint. Highlight, delete. And we're going to go to design and go to that format background. And I'm going to go to picture, insert, go find one of those pictures that I just did. And I think I would like to do, we're going to do the self-checking first. All right. So now that it is the background, nobody can move anything that's on here. If you're going to do a bunch of those, you can apply to all. If you're going to have multiple, since I'm showing you 2 different types, I'm not going to do that today, but highly recommend it to apply to all. All right, so this is a simple do they rhyme. I'm going to be putting 2 pictures in these boxes, and then I'm going to give them a thumbs up or a thumbs down, and they will click which one they think it is. It's very simple. It's self-checking. You don't have to go back and review their work, and it can be presented to them in presentation mode because there's no manipulation of objects. So that's a positive. They're not going to be able to move anything, just click. Very simple. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and insert some clip art that I have. I'll just do a very simple one. And we'll do a tag and a bag. All right. Now that I have my 2 pictures, and again, if you don't have any clip art, that is fine. Go ahead and use the insert picture from online pictures. There's no problem with that. So I have 1 picture and my second picture. Okay. Now again, since I'm giving this to them in presentation mode, I don't have to worry about if they move these because they won't be able to anyway. Now I'm going to go ahead and find my thumbs up, thumbs down. I am going to go into online, and I kind of already looked these up, but I'm going to do my transparent so I can have that blank background. Thumbs, I'm going to do down. And I like these emoji ones, so I'm going to do that one. And this one. Just pull them both together. All right. Size those down to whatever size you want them to be. Okay. All right, so now they will have to choose if they rhyme. Now the self-checking part comes when they click one of these objects. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a check mark. I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm actually going to go to Icons. And I'm going to pull up a check. And I'm going to do, I think I just want that to be green. And then I'm going to do another one with an X. And I want that one to be red. All right. So all you're going to do is you're going to decide where you want this check mark to pop up and where you want the X to pop up. I think I'm just going to have it pop up on top. So I'm going to set them there. We are going to go to Home, Select, and go to the Selection pane. We've done this before. We're going to label these. Instead of graphic 14, I'm just going to put check. And instead of graphic 16, I'm going to put X. And I'm also going to label thumbs up and thumbs down. And we're going to need to know which is which is why I relabeled these, because when we go to search for them later on, it's going to be a lot easier to figure out which is which. So I can close that now. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up my animations. I'm just going to click animations at the top. I'm going to open up the animation pane. All right. Oh, I have some of these down here I need to get rid of. They were hiding. There we go. Okay. So what we ultimately want things to do is when I click on the thumbs up, I want this to pop up. I want the check mark. If they click on the thumbs down, the X is going to pop up. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the check mark. Then I'm going to come down here to where it is in the animation pane, and I'm going to double click it. And I'm going to go to timing. This little box is going to pop up. What we want it to do is to be triggered by something. So it says on click, we want it to pop up on a click. We just don't want it to pop up on any click. So I'm going to go down here to trigger, and I want to start that appear, that pop up when somebody clicks thumbs up. And this is why we labeled. So I don't have to look and say, I don't know if it's picture 4, 6, 8. I know it's thumbs up. So when somebody clicks the thumbs up, that check mark is going to appear. So that's what our trigger does. All right. And we're going to do the same thing with the X. I'm going to highlight the X. I would like it to appear. And then I'm just going to double click on it in the animation pane. Go to timing, and it says on click. I'm going to go to trigger, and I want it to come up when I hit thumbs down. So now those two have triggers. What we're going to do is we're going to kind of test it out to make sure. All right, so do they rhyme tag bag? I don't know. Let me click this one. Nope, it's not correct. Must be this one. It does rhyme. So that's what happens when I click on it. It tells me yes or no. That's that self-checking part. All right, so that is all that you need to do for a self-checking type of activity. And this kind of can go for anything. I'd say those two big things are in the home, make sure you label things in that selection pane. That's going to be important. It's going to save you time. And then to use those triggers when it's time to, when you want something to happen because of something else. You want something to trigger something else. Just think of it kind of as a chain reaction of what you want to happen. Okay, so we're now ready for another self-checking animated type of activity. I went ahead and got this one started. I inserted that circle map looking thing that we saved from the previous section. I went ahead and added a text box, added the letter B, as my students are going to click on items that start with the letter B, and they are going to fly into our circle map. Things that do not start with the letter B are going to give them that X. So there's that self-checking factor again. So I went ahead, added the clip art I wanted to use just for time's sake. I also made sure I went into my selection pane and I labeled all my pictures. So again, they're easy to find. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the simple part first. We're going to do that same thing we just did before. I'm going to find that X. We'll start with the easy ones first. X, change it to red. And when they click that, and V, X, I'm just copying and pasting. There we go. We're going to go back to animation. And we're going to click on the X. I want it to appear. Open the animation pane. And I'm going to double click, go to timing, trigger. I want it to appear when they click the flower. Okay, same thing here. I want it to appear when it's triggered by the click of the mushroom. Very important to label in that selection pane, or this will take forever. And the last one for the X's, the snowman. And I want it to appear when they click on the snowman. All right, so simple. Those are done. When they click on any of those wrong answers, the X will pop up. Now, the next part's a little more tricky, but not by much. Not by much at all. We're going to do a different type of animation. So for the ball, I'm going to click and highlight the ball. And the animation I'm going to look for, I'm just going to drop down all of these. We're going to do motion paths. And I want it to be a line. I just want it to go in a straight line. Once you get comfortable with this, you can have it doing silly things. It doesn't matter. But we're just going to start with something easy, a line. And as you can see, it kind of gives it a line on its own. And then it kind of gives you this little path here. There's a green where it starts, red is where it stops. I take that little red dot and I just drag it to where I want it to go. So if I want it to go here, it's going to go there. Now, we're going to do that same thing. I don't want it to do that until they click on it. So that same trigger, when they click on the ball, it is going to move onto the circle map. And it's just going to follow that invisible path. And it will, see, there you go. So that's all it's going to do. Wherever you want that path to go, it's going to follow it. And I can do the same thing with everything else. I come up here, I drop down all of them, go to motion paths line, and I grab that little red dot, and I want him to fly over here. Now I'm going to set the trigger. All right, so you see how it works. So that's a very simple animation. And again, for both of these, you don't have to give it to the kids in edit mode so they don't have to accidentally click something wrong. You can give this to them in a presentation mode. So all they have to do is click and something will happen. It's very, very simple. Okay. Now, once we've done that, I'm not going to do all of these right now, but you see how the motion paths work. And of course, they have different ones. They have arcs. You can do timing if faster or slower. I just pretty much stick with what they have. You're going to go to transitions. Now, transitions up here, it has to advance the slide. So if you have multiple slides for your activity, which of course you will, it's automatically checked to do it on a mouse click. So anytime they click outside of something you want them to click, if they just clicked right here on accident or in here on accident, it's going to automatically advance to the next slide. We don't want that. We want them to stay in whatever the pages they're on, no matter what they click. So I always uncheck that, and then I apply that to all so that it won't happen to each one. Now, with that being said, once they do that, you do need to give them a way to go to the next slide when they are ready. And the way I typically do that is I just come down here. I typically grab an arrow, put the arrow there, and then I probably wouldn't be pointing to the snowman just so they don't think they have to click that. But it will be here at the bottom of the page. I will right click and I will link it. And I'm going to link it to a place in the document. And typically I just want it to go to the next slide. So whatever's the next slide, they click it, it goes to the next slide. There we go. And I can always, since I just did the next slide, Control C and come back to this one, Control V, and stick it there. And it will do the same thing. It's still linked. See, I can edit the link, but it's still linked. When they click it, it's going to go there. So when you do turn that off in the transitions, when you turn off that advanced slide, make sure that you give them something to move with, because otherwise they'll just be stuck on one page if you don't do that. All right, so let's quickly take a look at what the slide will look like in presentation mode. There we go. We have our pictures. We have our circle map. Oh, I think flower does. Nope, our X pops up. We triggered that. What about the bee? And the bee, there he goes. He's flying to where we want him to go. So it works great. And of course, we don't have a next slide on here, but if you did, they'll just click that and it'll go to the next one. So everything works. All right. I hope this video was so helpful for you. I hope that you can create lots of cool interactive activities for your students. Gives them a little something different to do, something fun. If you like this video, as always, hit that like button. Of course, subscribe to the How To Teacher channel and hit that bell and you'll be notified anytime I post a new video. Of course, there's always more content to come. If you have an idea or want me to do a how-to video on something, go ahead and leave that in the comments and I'll get to it. All right, guys, as always, have fun. Can't wait to see what you guys can do. And I will see you next time. Bye.